Hey, what's up, folks? My name is Ryan. This is the DFS 5-pack. But as we've been talking throughout this entire life of quarantine and the coronavirus fiasco, let's talk about some fitness today. We got no fantasy sports to analyze because sports is not currently a thing. However, many of us at home, not a lot to do, very easy just to constantly shove your mouth full of Doritos and whatever it is that's your kind of your guilty pleasure. But let's focus on staying fit, getting fit throughout this thing. There's plenty of things you can do around the home. I think tomorrow I will kind of go through like a daily workout of what I've been doing around my house. I kind of covered it a little bit earlier, but I'll go through more of like a set routine. For today, though, I want to talk about free weights versus machines. Eventually, we are all going to get back into the gym. And at that point, this will be a little bit more applicable. Reread the chapter in my personal training book about this, just to kind of get through a few more of the technical reasons why you could choose machines or free weights. Again, guys, as long as you're doing something, though, it's going to be better than doing nothing, right? So you might be a bigger believer in the machines. You might be a bigger believer in the free weights. They both have advantages and disadvantages depending on what your goal is, what kind of like your workout routine might be, and other things that go along with that. However, here's a couple of them, and there's other ones, but I didn't want to spend 45 minutes talking about the difference because I feel like that might bore a few people. All right, so again, if you're new to the station, guys, we talk fantasy sports, and now fitness over here. Subscribe to get more videos. Thumbs up is always appreciated. Helps spread me around YouTube, so I appreciate everybody who does that. But free weights versus machines. So personally, I use a combination of both. And how I make those decisions is going to depend on what gym I'm currently a member at. So right now, there's a YMCA by my house. I have a membership to the Y and to Planet Fitness. I usually am a Y member throughout the winter so I can get the pool. None of that's applicable to this, but why that matters to me is the YMCA, like a mile from my house, only has one bench press. So there are a lot of times that is going to be busy, especially if I have to go during a busier time. It's going to be difficult to get over to that machine. So that's something that's going to affect what I am doing if I'm lifting upper body that day and specifically focusing on chest, or maybe just doing a general upper body day. That could be difficult to use. So, I mean, there are little influences like that. And again, I kind of mentioned this already, but do what you feel more comfortable with. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this video is we have a fantasy sports customer, Nick, if you happen to be listening to this one as well, that mentioned a couple years ago he had never been into working out, and getting into a gym and seeing a lot of the people there was very intimidating for him. So every time I join a new gym, which, throughout the last 20 years was, happened a handful of different times, the machines can be a little bit intimidating if you have never used them before. And what I mean by that is you don't know exactly how they work or if you're doing them correctly. I'm not saying that free weights won't be like that, but I know even I, who have used them, basically since I was a teenager, if I don't know exactly how it works, I can understand why somebody would feel a little bit intimidated sitting next to it, not wanting to feel or look stupid, especially since that was already an insecurity that they had entering into the gym. So that could be a potential disadvantage. Again, do what you feel comfortable with. Sometimes machines are going to be easier because you may not have a partner. And if you're trying to lift heavier weights, if you're specifically working on power or strength that day, then bench pressing or squatting or any of those things, military press, doesn't matter. If you don't have any version of a spotter, then that could be a little bit more dangerous. I mean, one time in high school, I was lifting by myself in the weight room, and I thought I could bench more than I could, had all that weight fall into my chest, and having to like unload it onto the ground like that's tough. I mean, that could be very, very dangerous. So that is something that everybody should be cognizant of. I'm sure most of you guys have common sense and you're already doing that. But I want to get into a few more of the advantages and disadvantages of free weights versus machines. And again, I've said it twice. This is the third time. I may say it 3 or 4 more times. As long as you're doing something, it's better than nothing. So if there's one that you feel more comfortable with, you're very capable of getting a quality workout with either. For people who are very, very into strength and power, that they're maybe more advanced, probably wouldn't be watching this video to begin with, they're probably going to see more advantages with free weights. All right, so one thing to take in mind as far as like pros and cons are concerned is that free weights are going to be more effective in developing some of the smaller synergistic or helping muscles. And that's where machines are very often, because of the smooth motion that goes along with it, going to be better at isolating a specific muscle from time to time. couple other things. And this is more of the everyday life that goes into it, but free weights are more affordable and more versatile. Now, again, if you join a gym, they're both going to be, at your disposal. You're going to do what you feel more comfortable with. But if you're specifically looking to have something in your home, I can go out and I can buy a couple sets of dumbbells. I can buy some of those dumbbells where you can switch the weight on them. And it's going to be significantly more affordable than trying to buy a machine. Money does play into this. Staying healthy and getting fit is not necessarily always going to be cheap. Yes, you can run and walk outside for free, but there are other things that are going to be more or less cost effective. And your real life finances, especially right now when a lot of us aren't getting paid, is going to play into and factor into this equation. All right, next up, when using free weights, changing weights when lifting in a group can be a pain. So if you're lifting with a couple of people in a group and everybody's at a different size or a different strength level or endurance level, constantly changing the weights between every lift is kind of a pain in the ass. So if you wanted to use a machine for that, it could be advantageous for that aspect. Excuse me for a second. No, I do not have coronavirus, at least to the best of my knowledge. I've only seen like 4 people over the last 2 weeks, so I should be good. For certain lifts, a machine will be superior at isolating a specific muscle group. We mentioned that earlier. That is one advantage for a group, for a machine. If you're really, really trying to focus on isolating a specific muscle, there are machines that can do a better job of that. Machines are going to be easier for most people. Workout, easier to do, safer for a lot of people. So that is another advantage. And for your novice person starting to work out, I would probably say start with using more machines than free weights. Now, if you want to go do some, simple barbell curls or something like that, or dumbbell curls, that's going to be pretty simple, or barbell curls, either one. But the machines will typically make for an easier workout. If I'm at the gym, a lot of times if you see older people there, they're going to focus on the machines. Younger people are going to focus on the machines. My 12-year-old son can't even use the actual free weights at the gym. He had to take a class just to use the machines. But for the more advanced lifters, then again, free weights are oftentimes going to be where they're going to focus their attention. The lack of natural movement renders machines less effective, according to a lot of physiologists. So that is something else to take in mind. If you are really, really interested in trying to look like a power lifter or something like that, eventually you're going to be focusing more on the free weights, just the nature of the beast. But for your very common person, there are advantages and disadvantages to both, some of which we covered. There are a lot more. If you want to read more about this, there's a million articles up on the old Google machine. Go give it a whirl. All right, last one I want to bring up. Due to machine construction, it can often be impossible to achieve maximum velocity for high-speed training, which can be a prerequisite for sports training. I wanted to bring that one up because ultimately this is still a sports channel, so a lot of people here might be more into athletics, which, again, for me, in a time like this when I can't actually get into my gym like most of you, and I have some, not very heavy free weights around my house. I have to focus on velocity, speed training, and endurance. I can't really focus on power and strength. Quite frankly, I just don't have the tools in my house currently in order to do that. So throughout this break from the gym, I am specifically working on speed training a lot and also just for, muscle endurance as opposed to getting size and really, really getting stronger. With the 10-pound weights and stuff like that I got sitting around the house, I'm just not going to get to work on power and strength, but I can still work on muscle endurance throughout this unfortunate break that we are all stuck dealing with. So there are a lot of other pros and cons to both ways to work out. Ultimately, just doing something is better than doing nothing, right? Again, advanced power lifters are going to use more free weights. Older people, younger people are going to use more machines. And a steady mix of both of them is more than fine. Reading through some of the materials I've been required to read and some of the things I have read on my own, like most things within the fitness world, there are mixed messages on a lot of different things. There are, both good and bad. There's mixed opinions, which is why ultimately I try to focus more times on the motivational side of working out, because that's something that we all need from time to time. Whereas as long as you are doing something, I'm a huge proponent of just getting out there and working out. Are there certain, repetitions and free weights versus machines advantage? Yeah, hell yeah, there is. Absolutely. Those things are all in there. But there are mixed opinions on a lot of them. But also, just get out there and do the work, guys. And if anybody needs to hear it today, I know I got my kids. We're all going to do 100 runs of the stairs today, as well as probably working on some planks. I think tomorrow I will just go through like a real basic workout plan for people who may be on the beginner side of things, just as an idea of what you can do around your house for the time being. But that's that for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day. I know for a lot of you guys who are probably bored as can be, being stuck in the house, man, it sucks. Sucks for everyone, though, which is kind of a nice thing. And if you're stuck working right now, probably don't like that either. But for the rest of us, we might we got unemployment gearing up into the 20% here potentially soon. So it's boring. It's really, really, really boring. Netflix, Prime, Hulu, all those things are getting old real quickly. So try to get into a little bit of a routine on a daily basis, and simple at-home workouts is one way that you can do that. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's still listening to this video. I'm just talking because this is keeping me from losing my mind as I'm stuck in my house for a longer period of time, and I'm sure I'm not alone right there, guys. So that is the one nice part about this. As a world, as a nation, we are in this together. We can use this as a way that we can actually agree on something for once, even if you are going to find mixed messages all over the internet. We are all stuck in this giant shit sandwich together. All right, guys, have a good day.